Tony Jones here, y'all. ASE certified mechanic and well, shuttle driver, operator, shuttle mechanic for a lot of the airport shuttles down here in the Phoenix area. I've noticed a lot of these Ford E350s have this very annoying rattle going up and down the road. And of course, I do a lot of preventive maintenance checks on these things. And one thing I've noticed is that they have a tendency to wear out the brake lubricant in the caliper pins a lot, which are, here's one of the caliper pins right here that goes through, and the other one's at the bottom. And what happens is, as that grease wears thin, it leaves a little bit of space for this caliper to literally rock back and forth on that pivot because there's no grease in there to take up the space. And if you see that free play right there, it's actually pivoting, but on a bump. That can be very irritating, and it's like way louder than that. It's like. I don't know if you can see that with me wiggling and moving the camera, but that's basically it right there. Okay, and after removing the brake caliper, which is the two basic bolts that are at both ears of the caliper, this is a 13mm for this 2014 model. But what you want to focus on is these caliper pins. See that? That's rocking back and forth. That's all that extra space in there from the caliper grease that is worn down or dried out just from normal heat applied or generated from brakes normal use. And that's the bottom one. Believe it or not, if your vehicle is getting a lot of heavy fleet use, you may have to do this as often as every 3,000 miles, believe it or not. And when you do lubricate these pins, make sure you get yourself some caliper grease that is specified for use in brake calipers, as well as, you know, heavy duty, something that meets Ford expectations or requirements. Sorry about moving the camera around so much. But basically, I have some paper towels here. I'm wiping these caliper pins, guide pins, clean. And what I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way. I already took the dust boots off. All right. I'm gonna take my finger and actually put it into the cavity, putting it in as much as possible, and not filling it up to capacity. You don't want to do that, because if you do, you're going to block the air and you won't be able to push the pin back in. But what I am going to do is I'm putting this grease in here like that, and I'm going to do the same one for the bottom. And just to keep from belaboring the point, I'm going to pause and I'll pick back up once I'm finished getting my hands all nasty. Now that they've both been repacked and reinstalled, I basically wiped off the residue around both edges of them. What you could do is, once you have filled up the cavity with the lubricant, you can push this down while the boot is on and let it burp through the boot. Just kind of taking your time, pushing it in and out until you hear it go, you know, just like that. There's no need to reset the caliper pistons because we're putting everything back on with the original parts. Brake pads on this is still good. They've already been inspected like less than 3,000 miles ago. But like I said, this vehicle gets over 2,000 miles a week because it's an airport shuttle. And they require a lot more maintenance more often than most vehicles because they're on the road a lot now. Mind you, they get a lot of highway use, yes, but they get a lot of brake use too. So because of the heat generated from the brakes, along with the weight of the van and the passengers and the luggage and everything, these brakes have to work a little bit harder than normal. So that lubricant will heat up, sometimes it will harden and just wear itself out. So you have to replenish it every so often so it can fill up that empty space in there. And as you can see now, there is no noise. No noise. This isn't something that's just unique to Ford E350s. You'll find this problem on Chevy Express vans as well. A lot of the older Chevy vehicles and Fords have this similar brake setup in the front, and they have a tendency to have that same rattle as well. So I'm in the process of putting everything else back together now, and I just wanted to run that by you so that you can have an idea of what's really going on when your Ford E350 goes down the road and it sounds like the front wheels are trying to rattle themselves loose. All right, see you later.